Hey guys, I mentioned in the last video that this time we're going to be talking about macronutrient game plan overhauls. So instead of fine-tuning or tweaking, what if we just really need to start from scratch, scrap the entire system and do something different. Even with that kind of terminology, it's not that everything would be changed. As I mentioned way back in the first block, we're still going to have a certain need for protein that's pretty stable, but maybe you've been doing something that's, as we would propose, a baseline, moderate carbohydrate plan with pretty low dietary fat. Maybe you've decided, I just really want to try having a little bit more fat in lower carbs, and your coach might decide that that's something definitely worthwhile to explore. You never want to go so far that you're into a ketogenic state where now you risk really aggressively suppressing your metabolism. But even that, sometimes it's important just to see what can be done, and then it's almost, I don't want to say it's learning the hard way as if I expect you to fail, but I will tell you I have done everything you can possibly do simply because I want to experience that, and I want to know what it's like for clients and other people in the industry. I consider myself a health scientist that's very hands-on. So I've done long stints of vegetarianism. I've done different types of ketogenic diets. I've done time-restricted eating and intermittent fasting. I've done all of that. The reason we come back to the type of programming that we describe here is that it's simply the best, not only supported by research, but how we see it in terms of sustainability, so real life nutrition. But I will say, along the way, sometimes there can be some value in angling out toward an extreme just so you can learn some things. So I don't want all of you guys rushing out to your coaches and say, hey, let's do some crazy stuff, but I want you to be aware that part of overhauling macronutrient profiles can be looking at entirely different types of dieting methodology, and then seeing how you might integrate some of those principles into your diet. So I'll give you a couple examples, and then we'll go into this in more detail in the next video. But simply, as I use the term, ketogenic dieting, you could really kind of angle in that direction and focus on what it feels like to really be in a carbohydrate restricted arena. Do you really feel the fat intake being higher gives you more energy and more stability, or not? Maybe you'll see that the blood sugar levels that are a little bit higher and more stable with a carbohydrate based diet are better. But it's interesting to compare those things based on experience and not just learning it through the curriculum. So next time we'll talk about some of those dieting methodologies and some of the pros and cons.